This video is on the partial quotients method of division. Division can also be related to the method of repeated subtraction. Let me show you an example of what I mean. If you were trying to solve 17 divided by 5, we could repeatedly subtract 5 from 17 until it could not be subtracted any longer. To turn this into the answer, we would count the subtraction symbols, 1, 2, 3, and then the answer to the final subtraction problem becomes the remainder. So 17 divided by 5 is 3 remainder 2. And this is how we use the repeated subtraction method. With partial quotients, it teaches us how to use repeated subtraction, but it's more applicable to using larger numbers. For example, if we were dividing 439 by 25, we would not want to repeatedly subtract 25. It would be an extremely long process and would offer us a lot of room for error. So instead of subtracting 25, we're going to subtract groups of 25. So what I mean by that is instead of subtracting 25 once at a time, we're going to subtract multiples of 25 at one time. So my recommendation for students was to start with 10 groups of 25. Always start with 10 groups. So we're going to keep track of how many groups we have out to the side. I'm going to subtract 10 groups of 25, which means I'm going to subtract 250. And with subtracting that, I am going to get an answer here of 189. Now I can no longer subtract 10 groups of 25, so I need to select a smaller group size. So my recommendation for students, as long as it still works, drop down to 5 groups. We want to try to choose a number that's easy to work with. 10, 5, 2, and so on. Well, 5 groups of 25 would be 125. So I'm going to subtract that, and that does leave me at this point with 64. Now, I cannot subtract another 5 groups of 25. So I need to select a lower grouping. So looking at my 64, I know that I could subtract out 2 groups of 25, which would be 50. And at this point, I can no longer subtract out any more groups of 25. So that's how I know I am done with my repeated subtraction. So we are still repeatedly subtracting, but it was as if we subtracted out 25 10 times all at once, and then 25 5 times all at once, and then 25 twice all at one time. So how do we turn this into our final answer? Well, the answer to your final subtraction problem becomes your remainder. So we do have a remainder of 14. And to find the quotient, you're going to add together the numbers that you multiplied by the 25. So we multiplied a group of 10, a group of 5, and a group of 2. 10 plus 5 plus 2 is 17. So 439 divided by 25 is 17, remainder 14.